Hello, good evening, and welcome along to Extra Time here on Fox's Hub. And hello if you're watching us as well, either on YouTube or on Facebook. As ever, get your comments in to the show this evening. I'm Dan Bates. Sat alongside me in the studio is only one person this evening. I feel a little bit lonely tonight, Gerry, with just you, but it is indeed Bolton's first ever £1 million signing, as we found out today. Gerry Taggart, welcome along to the show this evening. We've got Iwan Roberts, my co-host, who joins me via Zoom this evening, as does Tony Cottee. So half virtual, half in real person, Extra Time this evening. We'll start with you, Gerry. Yeah, you gave us that little nugget of information, didn't you, just before we came on air, and we were talking about Bolton.
I don't know why. I was Liz, the producer, was asking. I don't know what she was asking. It was miles away. But yeah, I don't know why I came out with that. It's just a little known fact. So there you go. I thought I'd share that with you. You didn't have to share it with all the listeners. And apart from that, I'd just like to say, per play, Iwan Roberts, you've let me down this evening. I don't care if you're here on Wednesday night or not. I am lonely. I'm stuck out on the edge of this bench with just Batesy here.
I'll be there. Tags, I'll be there Wednesday and I'll bring you some goodies, mate.
Yeah, but I'm outside in the cold Wednesday doing co-coms Wednesday, and it's just not good enough. TC, fair enough. No problems with TC whatsoever. But you, not happy. And you best get everything right tonight, because otherwise you're having it.
Tags, I was gonna say you're the first £1 million player for Bolton. No, I wasn't the first £2 million player, because Gazza beat me to it, but I was a record signing for when I went to Everton, and just over £2 million. And I do my speeches nowadays, the after dinner speeches, and all the youngsters that come along, all they say is, "You must have been really rubbish. You only cost £2 million." So I don't know where that leaves you, Tag. Where does it leave you?
Even more rubbish.
Yeah, I was going to say, what with the inflation, Tony? What's that? That must be 20 million now these days. Would you say?
No idea. It was 1988, so it's 35
even
years
more
ago.
Then, yeah.
Most of the ones who say that weren't even born, so that it just shows you how old me and Tags are. I think it does, and Ewan as well, I might add.
I saw on your social medias lots of shots at one point, Tony Cottee. Was it a heavy weekend, was it, or a nice relaxing one?
Well, I got persuaded. I was saying to Ewan, we was having a little chat, and he said, "What did you do for the weekend? Which game did you go to?" And I said, "Well, I sort of had to abstain from going to a match, because it was a family get-together, should we say, for Christmas. And as my family are very good at, they sort of all stand to one side and leave me to go up the bar to get the shots in at the end of the night," which is the picture you're referring to, Dan. So disgraceful behaviour from the Cottee family, I might add.
That would never be you, Gerry, would it? You'd
I
always...
don't toss shots.
No.
I'll get the pints in, but not the shots.
Yeah.
No problem.
Right, let's get on with some Leicester City action then. Ewan, another win for the Foxes. They remain top of the league. The problem is Ipswich keep winning, Leeds keep winning as well in third. Southampton did drop points in fourth, but the main thing is Leicester taking care of their own business.
And that's all you can do, Dan. That is all you can do. Focus on the job in hand, the next game that you're playing. You know, going into this game against Plymouth, there was added pressure, having seen Leeds win at Blackburn in the early kickoff. So the points difference after that game went down to 5, and that adds pressure to players. But they coped magnificently with it. You know, another clean sheet. What is that now? 1 goal conceded in the last 7 home games. That's an absolutely ridiculous performance from not just the back four and the goalkeeper, but the whole team. And you know, probably the most convincing win at home, 4-0 against a team that have struggled back in the Championship. But one thing Plymouth have done, they've scored plenty of goals, Dan. So to keep a clean sheet against Plymouth, who were the 6 top scorers in the division, to score 4 goals, let's be honest, it could have been 8. You know, it's created some unbelievable chances in that first half. You know, created some good chances in the second half as well. But yeah, you know, 3 goals in the space of 6 second half minutes put the game to bed. But 4-0, to be honest, could have been 8.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best performances I've seen all season. Everybody at it. Plymouth, no pushovers, to be fair. You know, they weren't bad, Plymouth. Obviously, at there was a bit of naivety. Matt spoke about it on Match Day Live about some of the defending from Plymouth, but I just thought that second half they really came out and just put Plymouth to the sword. Some of the football was excellent. Two wide players were excellent. Patson Daka coming in did really well. The keeper looks really assured as well. They had a few shots, but he just was equal to everything. Hermanson on Saturday. So yeah, a really top performance.
On YouTube, Bubba, one of our regular listeners, has said, "Evening lads, the squad depth was on display. In my opinion, it's Leicester's biggest advantage in the league." He also said that he had the Game Pass. He bought the Game Pass with us, and said it was brilliant. 2 hours with Gerry Taggart. It was the best, he says.
Oh, Bubba's in his element. Bubba's in his element there.
Yeah, cards on the way, Bubba. Don't worry, buddy.
Do you agree with him, Tony, that Leicester have probably got the biggest advantage in terms of squad depth over probably most other teams, barring maybe Leeds in the division?
Yeah, no, I agree with that, Dan. I think we've sort of been saying from the word go, really, that there's a wonderful squad in play, emphasised by the fact that Patson Daka, who we've seen very little of this year, comes in, gets his goal, leads the line well. They've just got sort of covering all areas, really, and no fair play to the club, really. I think, because it's always difficult. I've touched on it when you go down and the doom and gloom that goes with it. But you've got to try and give it a go. I think certainly for at least one season, maybe even 2 or even 3 seasons in some cases. But you've got to try and keep the nucleus of the squad together. Utilise all the wonderful players that Leicester had, bring in some good ones, the likes of Winks and Cottee, etc. And that's where you get the squad strength from. There's no doubt in my mind, and probably in the boys' and a lot of people's minds, that this is the best squad in the Championship. There's no doubt about that. But you still have to go and achieve those results. And the most pleasing thing for me, and I've been on this Monday night show for all the season, is the scoreline. And I've been saying Leicester need to wallop someone, and I didn't see the game live, but Ewan said it could have been 7 or 8. It felt that way when I watched the highlights. There were chance after chance, and I think it's always good to get them goals going. And the clean sheets are great, and Tags could go on about the clean sheets, but I think from an ex-forwards point of view, I love to see it when the team's scoring goals, good goals as well, and I think that breeds confidence. Not that they needed a confidence boost, but it's always nice to come in after the game and you haven't won 1-0 or 2-1. You've put 4 goals in, and you then really seriously look forward to the next game.
When you think, lads, as TC's alluded to there, 4 goals, could have had more. Patson Daka, he's come in. I'm sure it's been a frustrating time for him, but you'd never guess with that smile that he plays on his face. Missed a good chance in the first half, sort of bounced in front of him, which made things harder, tight angle. Took his goal magnificently well. I think he'd only played a minute of league football up until then. And when you think, we're talking about strength in depth, no Jamie Vardy on the bench, no Kelechi Iheanacho, but then you've got Tom Cannon. He came off the bench and played 30 minutes. That will do him the world of good. So you look at Ipswich, and they're having a fantastic run. And the big question mark about Ipswich is when they get maybe a couple of injuries to key players. I don't think out of those 3 top teams, the standout teams, Leicester, Ipswich and Leeds, who keep on winning games and performing well, they've got the weakest squad. They haven't got the depth that Leicester and Leeds have.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, it's true. You just named no Iheanacho, no Vardy. Cannon comes on, Daka starts. It was interesting when Daka came off and he was walking towards a bench, and Enzo stopped him and had a chat for a good 10, 15 seconds to Patson Daka, which I think was brilliant management. Ewan's already given the stats out. A minute this season he's played. So that will do Patson Daka the world of good for the game coming up, and also Tom Cannon, who starts on Wednesday night is anybody's guess. But definitely Patson Daka's done nothing wrong with that performance on Saturday, and in my view would deserve to start again on Wednesday night if given the chance.
Who will start, do you think, on Wednesday?
Well, it all depends on who's available.
Enzo said post-match that
Yeah.
he thinks Vardy and Iheanacho will both probably miss the game.
Yeah.
So out of
probably he's not probably though, is it? So
yeah.
So, but if you're going with him, I would start Patson Daka again, because obviously, if you're looking at Tom Cannon, that's his first taste. You know, Patson Daka hasn't been injured all season. He's been available. He's been fit. It just hasn't been used. That performance proved that he's up to fitness. He's up their level. So yeah, why not give him another go? It's not like his legs have been overused this season, so he'd be more than capable of starting the game on Wednesday, and an extra day's rest as well from a Tuesday night game. So yeah, I'd probably go with Patson.
How impressed were you, Tony, with Patson Daka at the weekend? Obviously, he's played 1 minute of Championship football all season, and then suddenly finds himself, Iheanacho ill, Vardy injured. Suddenly he's starting, and Ewan said he obviously had a decent opportunity in the first half, but then he'll look at his 60 minutes and say he got a goal, he got an assist. He's got to be delighted with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's frustrating, isn't it, when you're involved with the first team squad and you can't get into the team and players are playing and you're not being given the chance, and it's frustrating. But what I love about this Leicester squad, and I think it's been the same over the last 2 or 3 seasons, is you don't get people moaning or headlines in the paper or on the television or whatever about, I want to get away and I want to do. There seems to be a real unity amongst the squad. Excuse me. And, Daka's a great example of that. I've said before, personally, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of all 3 forwards, by the way, the 3 main forwards that we're just speaking about. But, what he'll need, Patson, is he needs time. He needs fitness. If he can play on Wednesday, you'll get the sharpness. You need games. You can play as many training games as you want, and you can look as sharp in training as whatever. You need the games. He needs those games. He needs to play, and he's a great player to be able to come in if you've got players injured.
I thought his movement, especially in the first half, was outstanding. I mean, there was one where I think it was Harry Winks had played the ball through, and he's in that central area, and he's just drifted to his right-hand side, and he's just opened the space up. Wilfred, indeed, he's sort of made that midfield third man running, which, I mean, Wilfred probably should have scored. The keeper's made a decent save. But his goal, I mean, we spoke about Harry Winks' desire last week at West Brom in the last seconds of the game, the run that he makes to get on the end of that pass from Dewsbury Hall to win the game. If you have a look at Patson Daka's starting position when Hermansen shoots that ball up, he's 10 yards in his own half. Honestly, lads, the run is unbelievable. The pace that he shows, the desire that he shows I think he outsprints 2 Plymouth defenders, and he's in the right place at the right time. And it's such a cool finish, because when I first saw it, I thought he was going to put it to the keeper's left, and he sort of just gives him the eyes and sort of goes into the keeper's right. It's a fantastic finish. And TC, you know what it's like when you've not been playing. It's the final piece that is harder to come to is that finishing, is that sharpness in front of the goal. Considering the little that he's played, I mean, it was great to see, because you get the feeling he's a great lad. He hasn't poked about the place. He's got on with his work. He's trained hard. He's waiting for his opportunity, and that's all you can do. And he took his opportunity magnificently on Saturday.
It was a great finish, and I agree. And I think Kelechi has got his own skills and ways that he plays and everything, and drops off a little bit. But I think in Patson Daka, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think it's as near to Jamie Vardy as you're going to get, because he likes to play on the shoulder. And I think as an attacker, I love to see players who are looking to get in behind the defence, play on the shoulder. He's got other aspects to his game as well that you've touched on. But I think I love that, playing on the shoulder. And Tags will tell you, as a defender, it's a nightmare. If you've got a player, a forward that's trying to get in behind you all the time. And I don't understand why forwards don't do it so much nowadays. I see a lot of static forward play. And, I think what you need to do is to test the defender. Sometimes you've got to come short a couple of times, and then you look to spin in behind, and then you run in behind. Even if you don't get the ball, it puts doubts in the defender's mind. He doesn't know whether you're coming short or going long, and that's the key to good forward play. And I think Daka's got that. I think he's a very, very clever player. He's an excellent finisher as well, and I totally agree. But he's a very, very clever player, and he can only get better. The more fitness and sharpness it gets, the better he'll get.
Yeah, I think just on the back line, he has been playing, hasn't he, for his country?
Yes.
And he has scored goals, but I think, going back to Ewan's point about the way he took his goal, his composure was fantastic for someone who hasn't really played. He settled himself, made sure his touch was good. As I say, give the keepers the eyes. Nice, cool finish.
Mm-hmm.
A goal that those two would be proud of. But yeah, but it is difficult when you're a player who's. I'm not going to say he's been out in the cold, because by all accounts, there's been encouraging signs from the manager about him, is going to get a start. But at the same time, it's got to be frustrating when you're watching the team playing every week and winning every week, and you're not having anything to do. Well, and all you can do is when you get that chance to come on and play is to make sure that you do your job, and he certainly did that.
He got 3 goals in the in the international break in November as well. Obviously, that would have given him that confidence.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, as I say, I think he's obviously well thought of with Zambia, even though he's not, starting for Leicester City. And that showed a finish of someone who, has got composure and is able to settle himself under pressure. And maybe those games with Zambia in the international break and the goals that he scored probably helped him on his way to achieving that.
Good evening on Facebook to Stuart, who's listening, to Stephen, to Lisa, to Owen and to Elias, who have all got in touch with us. As we've said, if you want to get your questions in or your comments for either of these guests, then do let us know. At the weekend, Gerry gave his man of the match to Abdul Fatawu. He wasn't on the score sheet, Ewan, but he got a couple of assists and was a constant thorn in the Plymouth defence. And he really looks like a very, very hot prospect.
Yeah, I mean, he was outstanding, wasn't he? As you say, didn't get on the score sheet himself, but some unbelievable, unselfish play. I mean, he should have had a hat-trick of assists, really, shouldn't he, when he opened the defence for Ndidi to...
Should he have shot himself?
Do you know what? Me and TC are shooting all day long in that position, but I just look at some of the goals that Leicester have scored this season. Dewsbury Hall's done it more than once, when he's been clean through and he can see someone in a better position and he's just squared it, like he did for Casey McAteer on a couple of occasions, like he has done for Harry Winks. I mean, was there a little bit too much pace on the ball? I'm not too sure. I mean, Wilfred Ndidi, he should score, in all fairness. Quite how he missed it, he probably doesn't know. I mean, the ball for Patson Daka with the outside of his left foot is outstanding. He had it shows what a performance that he had when you've got a player who's scored 2 goals. One unbelievable goal with Leicester's third. I mean, Mavadidi's second goal, Leicester's third, is absolutely magnificent play from him. So for him not to get man of the match and for Fatu to get it shows how well he played against Plymouth.
Yeah, and I sort of raised that to you, Gerry, didn't I, at full time? I said, a little bit harsh on a couple of the other players, but actually, when you explained it and when you think about it and see the goals back and see the play back, Fatawu on that right was great, but it could have gone to a couple of players. Yeah,
I think he is, because not only what he did with the ball, but what he did without the ball. He was going toe-to-toe in the air with players who are 4 and 5 inches taller than him. Yeah, and he was beating them in the air, and I love it. I love to see it. And obviously he gave the right back a torrid time down that right hand side. He was fantastic. He was putting early balls in with his right foot. The assist for Daka's goal with the outside of his left foot. He was superb. Best game I've seen him play. He was superb, and he didn't get on the score sheet, like you say.
Yeah, does he strike you as a confidence player, do you think?
I would say probably less so than some others. I think you talk about him coming into a new environment and trying to find his feet and trying to simplify his game that he probably hadn't done when he was playing elsewhere in his career. He's come here and he's trying to learn new ways with the new manager. And slowly but surely, you're seeing that improvement. And on Saturday, I just thought, he was a real deal. Nobody could have coped with him on Saturday.
And for him to then outshadow the player that was on the other side of the pitch in Steffi Mavididi, who got a couple of goals, didn't he? Won that penalty. The piece of skill to win the penalties is fantastic, isn't it, in its own right?
Again, he stepped up. He won the penalty. He stepped up and he took it. Big moment in the match. Pressure moment in the game early on in the game. So you have to get it right. He got it right. And then obviously Ewan waxed lyrical about his second goal. You thought the chance had gone, but he was able to just take that extra little half step to get it onto his left foot, and then a good solid low shot. He was brilliant. But I've said this before. I said if the two wide players in Leicester's team are playing well, then invariably Leicester, are playing well and they're winning games. And that was the case. Two wide players doing all the damage.
Yeah, probably a better question for Gerry, so we can come back to him on this one. But Ewan, in terms of being a defender, and you've got the likes of Fatawu on one wing, Mavididi on the other. We know Casey McAteer wasn't available through injury. There's Eunice as well. There's so many wide players and attacking options that Leicester have got.
Yeah, and the problem you've got, and we've spoken about it on a few occasions, because you've got left-footed wingers playing on that right-hand side, you've got right-footed wingers playing on that left-hand side. It's hard to show them which way you want to go, Dan. Do you, especially when Mavididi and Fatawu, when they're more than capable of going down the line and putting good service into the box with their weaker. I mean, we saw another opportunity for Fatawu when he broke in from that right-hand side, and he did the same against Leeds. He hit the bar. He was so unlucky. He did the same against Plymouth on Saturday, where he's come in and it's inches above the bar. They're hard to deal with because you just don't know, as a right back or a left back. I think you're always caught in two minds. Do I sort of overcompensate and show him down the line and risk him putting a good ball in with the firepower that Leicester have and they score? Or do I let him go inside? And it's a catch-22. It's a hard one for defenders, especially when they're as quick as the boys that we've mentioned.
Yeah, how good were those feet, Tony, for the penalty, the one that Steffi Mavididi won? I don't think, I certainly didn't notice it live, the fact that he played it behind his standing leg. And then when you see the slow-mo, the defender stood absolutely no chance.
Well, it's just brilliant skill from Mavididi. I think, I've really enjoyed watching him then since he's been in the team this season. And, it was a definite penalty, wasn't it? 100% a penalty. It was just fantastic skill, little flick. And, the third goal, I mean, it was one of those, when he scores it, you think, well, that's a good goal. But then when you play it back, which I did numerous times, and then you sort of look at what he does, it's fantastic skill. And it's supreme confidence with that running with the ball and touching the ball lots of times. Because when he gets the ball for that third goal, he has a couple of touches outside the box. And then I watched it again and again and counted the touches inside the box, including the one that put it in the net. 7 touches it was. 7 touches. He gets it and then he touch, a little bit of skill, touch again, drag back, and then left foot finish. Fantastic goal from him. But Ewan spoke about it. How do you deal with players like that? We've seen players like this before. The likes of Riyad Mahrez, for example. Those type of players. How do you deal with those players? Because as a defender, it must be an absolute nightmare because they are absolutely quick as anything. They're skillful. They make great runs. They're brilliant going forward. They work their socks off defensively. It just really, really fits into the way Enzo wants the team to play with that single lone centre forward. But you get the 2 wide men. They both can push up. They both can help and everything. But they both get back and defend. It really, really works for the way Leicester are playing at the moment. But I've been so impressed with Fatawu and with Mavididi. I think they've both been excellent this season.
Yeah, I think on the back of what Tony's just said, it's been a problem earlier. obviously selling Harvey Barnes to Newcastle, and then some people said they've not really replaced Morris on that right-hand side, or they haven't quite found the right sort of balance. And now you've got two lads who have just come in, new to the club, and they're absolutely flying. And they've hit the ground running, basically. And on Saturday, it was there for everyone to see why they're flying and why they've hit the ground running, because they cause all kinds of problems for defences in this league.
Yeah, very, very exciting to watch. Still to come on Extra Time. We'll continue assessing the victory over Plymouth at the weekend. We'll, of course, look ahead to the game against Tony Cottee's, one of Tony Cottee's former sides, Millwall, on Wednesday. A short but sweet stint, wasn't it, Tony? At Millwall.
It wasn't sweet, Dan. Trust me, it wasn't sweet.
We'll talk about that game on Wednesday in just a moment. Millwall, who, by the way, are really struggling at the moment in the Championship. We've also got our predictions to do, as well as football Jenga at the end of the show. But now it's the time for you guys at home to have a little go of getting involved with the show. Gerry's got his notes out. He's ready to go with it. It is our Lurdle section. So basically, I'm going to play a snippet of commentary from a Leicester City goal. You've got to tell me who scored it and who the opposition was. The clues will get easier as the commentary goes on. This first clip is only 5 seconds. So if you have no idea at the beginning, don't worry.
He plays it left, looking for Costa, but Amati with a powerful header into the path of Tielemans, who goes back too fast.
So nice and quick, but there's a little clue in there. I'll play it one more time.
He plays it left, looking for Costa, but Amati with a powerful header into the path of Tielemans, who goes back too fast.
There we go. That is clue number one then for our Lurdle. Let's take a look to see how some of the Leicester City players reacted then on social media to that victory at the weekend. Abdul Fatawu says, proud of this team. What an amazing win today, lads. Thanks to all the fans for their amazing support always. And he also congratulates Patson Daka for getting on the score sheet again. We've been speaking heavily about Daka so far. Mark Albrighton, great to see him back out there on the pitch. He says, great to be back out there himself. Another big 3 points at home. Up next is the goalkeeper, Mads Hermansson. Another clean sheet for him. He's put a love heart and +3. It was great to see Ben Nelson. Very quickly, Gerry, wasn't it? He looked assured. We'll talk about him in just a moment. But he made his league debut for the club at the weekend against Plymouth. But we're going to talk firstly about this next man. That is indeed Tom Cannon. Delighted to finally make my debut after a tough start through injury. Great win for the lads today. Ready to kick on now. What did you make of him, Gerry? He only had half an hour, didn't he, to impress it? Yeah. In a game where the team was already 4-0 up.
Yeah, yeah.
But he looked sharp.
Yeah, he does. He's running off the ball. His angles that he was given for players to try and find him was good. And he was doing all the right things. In the case of what Patson Daka was doing, i.e. trying to link the play, coming short, spinning. So, yeah, the signs are looking good for Tom Cannon. And obviously, technically, he's a good player. And I think some of the fans, I was talking to some of the fans on Saturday, and they're all sort of desperate to see a little bit more of this young man. Yeah, but the early signs look good.
Yeah, on YouTube, that's what Tasoki has said in himself-view, and he says, I'm excited to see more of Tom Cannon. And he asks, what kind of role do you think he'll play?
I just think, Dan, there's not a team in this division that have got 4 centre-forwards of the quality that Leicester have got. When you think Vardy, Iheanacho, Patson Daka, and Tom Cannon, I've spoken about him with you before. I saw quite a bit of him on loan at Preston last season. He looks comfortable at this level. What did he get? 8 goals in 20 appearances on loan last season. He's a powerful boy. He's a good runner. He's a good size. Scores all types of goals. And I'm sure it's been a tough time for him. Obviously, he signed when he was injured. And you don't want to rush someone back too quickly just in case they break down again. But it's another magnificent option for Enzo to have. And as I say, those 4 forwards, you're spoiled, absolutely spoiled. The club's spoiled with 4 top-class centre-forwards.
Difficult, Tony, coming on in the game where the team's already 4-0 up. I imagine it's probably more difficult as a striker coming on if you're 4-0 down, but I guess it was the game was won, wasn't it, after an hour? So he's probably going to be making runs desperate to score, but his teammates are just not relaxed. Chilling. But obviously they know the game's been won. They don't want to exert too much.
Yeah, but I sort of disagree a little bit with you, Dan. I think it's a great time to come on when it's 4-0 because if you're coming on and the other team's in a bit of disarray, they wasn't particularly defending that well at the time, Plymouth. So, if I'm Tom Cannon, I'm thinking, wow, here we go. Like 4-0, I can come on and try and maybe get a goal or whatever, or just at least be involved in the action. So I think it was good that he got his half an hour run out. I've not seen loads of him, Dan, I've got to be honest, but I've seen glimpses and clips of him and everything, and he looks a really good young talent. His biggest problem is what Ewan's already said. He's number 4 on the list, and you've got to wait. But things change in football. The only reason I made my debut in professional football is because the main man was injured. And you have to wait for your turn. You don't ever wish injuries on players. Of course you don't. But injuries and suspensions are part of football. And as a result of that, you then get your chance. And if you get your chance, you've got to try and take it with both hands. And, it was a great time for him to come on, run around, just show what you're made of. And all right, he didn't get on the score sheet, but, he'll take confidence from that. And as Ewan quite rightly says, Leicester have got 4 fantastic forwards who all bring something different to the party.
I agree with you, TC. 4-0 down, I don't want to go on. I'm warming up by the corner flag, hiding well away from the managers.
Well, you're
4-0 up. Yeah, 4-0 up. I'm warming up right in front of him, chomping at the bit. So get me on, because 4-0 up, you can see goals, can't you? As a centre forward, we're that way inclined to thinking, get me on. I want, especially when he's looking for his first goal for the football club. I'd have been chomping at the bit to get on.
Yeah. I actually said in commentary, because when Plymouth were 4-0 down, they chucked a few subs on, and I said on commentary, I said it's the worst feeling in the world when the manager's having a chat to his assistant, and then they look round at the bench, and your head just goes down like that when you're 4-0 down, or something along there. You go, please don't pick me, please don't pick me, Gaffer. And then you're like, oh no. But yeah, it's got to be one of the worst things. But I understand where Betty's coming from, because the game had sort of gone into a bit of a lull, or the spice had been taken out of the game somewhat in the last half hour. The intensity wasn't quite there. Obviously, when you're 4-0 up, it was like, okay, listen, we're going to try and just play our way through Plymouth. Plymouth weren't really causing us any problems. So the game, I'm not saying it petered out, but that tempo that they showed in the first 10, 15 minutes of the second half, it just wasn't quite there at the same rate of knots as it was. So yeah, but I'm not saying it was that. Like Tom Cannon was trying.
Yeah, he was making some runs, right? Maybe we'll see him again on Wednesday evening. Let's do clue number 2 for our Lardle then. Thank you to Bubba, as ever, for guessing Vardy against Spurs. Not this time, but we promise we will do it at some point this season. Here's clue number 2.
He plays it left, looking for Costa, but Amati with a powerful header into the path of Tielemans, who goes back to Fass. Here come Leicester down the left with Barnes, running at... He's got the beating of him into Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah, there's a little break in the audio there because whoever Barnes is running at, the defender, it would give it away. So I'm going to play it one more time.
He plays it left, looking for Costa, but Amati with a powerful header into the path of Tielemans, who goes back to Fass. Here come Leicester down the left with Barnes, running at... He's got the beating of him into Dewsbury Hall.
So we need the goal scorer and the team that it was scored against. Usually I'd have had a text from Iwan Roberts by now when he's not in the studio with me with a little guess that he's got. He's shaking his head. There's always a theme or a reason why we've picked this game. Gerry has written the team down. And he's got it right. So he knows what the game is from. So we need you guys at home to keep getting your guesses in. We need the goal scorer and the team that it was scored against. Right, Millwall then, Tony Cottee. I teasingly said one of your former clubs, of course. But it's another chance for 3 points. I think these games back-to-back, Leicester, maybe even at the start of the season, would have looked at that and thought, great chance at the start of December, hopefully, to pick up 6 points in the space of, 4 days. You look at the table, Millwall, only 2 points clear of the relegation zone.
Yeah, I mean, the next 3 games really, Danny. If you look at it, you've got Millwall at home. It's a nice game. You've got Birmingham away. They're struggling at the moment, and then of course Rotherham at home as well. So these are games with that busy Christmas period coming up. These are games you've got to pick the points up. Yeah, I mean Millwall have struggled, haven't they? I mean, I felt a bit sorry for Gerry Rowett. He's done a really good job at Millwall, and I do get frustrated sometimes when managers seem to move on when there's no real reason for a manager to move on. But he's not there anymore. Joe Edwards has come in, and it's a difficult job. It really is. Millwall's a good club. There's a lot of good people work behind the scenes at Millwall Football Club. I found that out when I went there, and I was only there for 6 weeks, but there's really good people at the club who care about the club, and it's tough for them, Millwall, because they're sort of like many clubs. They want the dream of going to the Premier League, but in reality, it's not really going to happen. I remember in late 80s playing against Millwall when they was in the top flight, but they've not really been too close to that since. So it's tough for them, Millwall. It really is, and they're having a really, really tough season as well. And on paper, as we always say, it's a comfortable 3 points for Leicester, but it won't play out there that way. And I promise you one thing: there'll be 3,000 Millwall fans in that corner making a lot of noise and demanding that Millwall put in a performance. That's for sure.
When you think, lads, last season they finished 8th and they were 1 point from finishing in the playoffs. They had a great season last season. I was like, I'm with you, TC. I was shocked when they got rid of Gerry Rowett, the job that he's done there. He was the longest-serving manager in the Championship before he got the sack. I mean, I know it was sort of a mutual consent thing, but I was really, really surprised. As you said, they brought Joe Edwards in. Was he with Frank Lampard?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yes. He's a bit inexperienced. He's only won one of his 5 games. He's lost 3 of those 5. They've lost 4 of their last 6. But their away record's been decent. They lost. I wasn't at the Cardiff Millwall game on Saturday. I was at Rotherham and Swansea, so I missed a great chance to see Millwall and see what they were about. But that was only their 3rd defeat in 10 away games. I think they've just drawn far too many. But they've 1 win in 10. And that was a 4-0 win at Sheffield Wednesday. And that just sums the league up. We know how Leicester struggled a couple of weeks ago up at Hillsborough. And Millwall went there and battered them 4-0. But if Leicester play like they're capable of, if they sort of reach the standards that they've set this season. Lads, it's ridiculous, right? We're not even halfway through the season and Leicester are 1 point off 50. That's unbelievable. 41 points from a possible 50, I think. 49 points from a possible 60. That's, you look at Burnley last season, they had 41 points after 20 games. So the start that Leicester have had, and as you've said, TC, if they do things right, if they focus on each game coming up in this next 3, there's a great chance of picking up some really valuable points before that massive game on Boxing Day.
When you're speaking about the good starts to a campaign, Iwan, it is actually the greatest ever start to a championship campaign after 19 games, rather, or 20 games, sorry. Ipswich and Leicester are the top 2 ever in the championship, and they're the top 2 now. It shows you the quality that those 2 have shown this season. You go down 15 of those best starts so far. Leeds would be the next one in the line on 41 points, who are in 3rd place, which again sums it up. But every single one of the top 15 in those have either been champions or have been promoted automatically. So let's hope that that trend continues. But it does sum up the start that. And you have to give Ipswich an awful lot of credit as well that they've both made, Gerry. Yeah,
absolutely. And somewhat Leeds had sort of lost their way slightly at the beginning of the season, and I've come back with, absolutely flying as well. Probably the best game I've seen all season was here against Leeds, to be honest. So credit all 3 teams, and we spoke about this before. All you can do now when you're in that top position is all you have to do is take care of your own business. And these 3 games leading up to the Ipswich game are 3 games that Leicester will obviously be looking to take maximum points. And the only thing you can see is the rail on that at the moment is, I don't want to use the word complacency, but maybe a slight lack of focus, which is what we've seen at Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday probably should have won that game, but the chances they had and didn't take, basically gifted to them by Leicester. So Leicester done well on the night to get a point. And even Enzo, you know, I've never heard Enzo speak like that, but he agreed that, you know, even in the games that they've lost, that they were the better team, and I agree with that. But he admitted that Leicester did not deserve anything out of that game, or did not deserve to win it. So that's the only thing you can see derailing Leicester, is a slight lack of focus.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe that result can be the catalyst to say to them, listen, we don't want to do that.
And this happens. And I say, you know, this happens because we're all human, and it doesn't matter how far the game's moved on. Once you get into the nitty-gritty of a championship season, which, you know, we are right in the middle of, the busiest part of the season, then every now and again, you know, things don't go the normal way. And obviously they bounce back against West Brom, and then they bounce back even better against Plymouth on Saturday. Yeah. So, as you say, important that they just take care of business.
Yeah, the teams below them. As we've just stated, keeping pace, really leads 6 of their last 7 games that they've won. They drew the other one in that run as well. Ipswich, though, incidentally, their Christmas run is Norwich. Massive game for them. Ewan will know all about that derby. Then they go to Leeds, and then they play Leicester. So those 3 games back-to-back could potentially be huge for Ipswich. But we're concentrating, though, on Leicester, of course, and the game on Wednesday evening against Millwall. It is a game that is available to you. A live UK stream is available there. So you can scan that QR code that's on your screen there to get your Game Pass. Whether you're in the UK or whether you're worldwide, you can watch the game for just £10. So scan that QR code or head to Fox's Hub to get all the details of that. Iwan Roberts will be part of our Matchday Live build-up from 6:45, as well as seemingly a first-team player will be on the sofa as well. I'm not going to divulge any more information than that, but that looks like that will be happening as well on Wednesday. So all the more reason to tune in with us on Wednesday. Right, let's do clue number 3 for our Lurdle.
I've got it.
Jerry's got it.
I've already got it, so I'll just take a break. I'm one up then.
I'll play clue 3 now.
Leicester down the left with Barnes running at. He's got the beating of him into Dewsbury Hall. Back to Barnes on the left. Barnes 2-0. Classic Harvey Barnes.
Well, clearly you have the goal scorer there, so now you need to put potentially 2 and 2 together and figure out who the opposition was.
You got it, lads.
No.
Is it Harvey Barnes? Rubbish, you two.
Tony, you're right. It was Harvey Barnes. Yeah.
No, I mean the clue was given away.
Was it Harvey Barnes last year as well? Was it last week Harvey Barnes as well?
It was 2 in a row for Harvey Barnes.
I thought so. Yeah.
It was the clue was given away in the first line from the commentator.
Yes, Gerry's got it. Stuart Russell, he has guessed Kiernan Dewsbury Hall against Wolves. Malk Heggs has guessed Harvey Barnes away to Wolves. Bubba has also guessed Kiernan Dewsbury Hall against Palace. We know that it wasn't Kiernan now, thanks to clue number 3. So keep getting your guesses in. Though it is time to hand the reins over to our co-host, who is doing it from Norfolk. Speaking of Ipswich and Norwich, of course, Iwan Roberts is going to take us globe-trotting. Ewan, take it away, mate.
Yeah, I think this is a first as well, as we go into the Saudi Super League, I think it's called. We all know the money that's available and the signings that league sort of attracted. I'm taking to a game, Al Hazim, who are bottom of the league, 1 win against Al Fat, who are 10th, who were coached by Slavan Bilic. And there was an incident in the 15th minute. There was a ball played through. Al Fat's goalkeeper, he was a Swedish lad, Jacob Rin. He's picked the ball up. Anyway, the big centre half, Habib, he's run back to the goalkeeper. Keeper's got the ball in his hand. And I don't know what he's trying to do, the big centre half. He's got the sort of fist pumping. And as he's fist pumping, he's handled the ball, and there was a clear movement in the ball, and you can tell by the goalkeeper's reaction, we could be in trouble here. Anyway, the centre forward goes running away, he's protesting to the referee. and they give a penalty. I could not. I mean, what the centre half is thinking is beyond belief. Honestly, you've got to see it on social media. I mean, it was a ridiculous thing for the goalkeeper, for the centre half to do. Anyway, they scored, made it 2-0, second win of the season, but it was an absolutely bizarre incident. I was just thinking, incidents of a player having a rush of blood to the head and doing something stupid. And I remember Bernd Leno, when he was playing at Argyle, they played Wolves at Molineux, and there was a long ball put through, and he's come running out of his penalty area, and he's under pressure. All he's got to do is head the ball away. But for some bizarre reason, he's ended up punching it away. Straight red card. I mean, I don't know if you boys have got anything where, or if it's happened to yourself where you've done something absolutely stupid. I mean, I can remember when I punched Robbie van der Laan in the face when I was playing for Leicester at the baseball ground, and that was more than a rush of blood to the head, and it's straight red. But have you got anything, boys?
I think we've all done something stupid, Ewan, haven't we, in our careers? So we're not going to pretend that we're all goody two-shoes, myself included. But you put me on the spot with it. I'm just thinking of when I was at West Ham in my second spell, we was playing away at Old Trafford. We had a lad called Marco Boogers. I don't know whether that name rings a bell. Yeah, and he was very frustrated, and he came on as a sub. And within 2 minutes of coming on as a sub, he absolutely wiped Gary Neville out, like with a tackle like you've never seen before. And Neville went sort of done a somersault and that, and he got there was all pushing and shoving. He got a red card. He'd only been on for about 5 minutes, and you're thinking, as if it ain't hard enough at Old Trafford. But if you get the chance to look at the clip of Marco Boogers' tackle on Gary Neville, it is unbelievable. And you're thinking, what you're doing, because you just, But Lewis Dunk is another one. A couple of weeks ago, didn't he? He got sent off, didn't he? For two within about 10 seconds. He got a yellow card and then a red card, and it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Unfortunately. I've got a couple. One for Leicester. I came on as a sub at half time, and I lasted about 15 minutes. We were playing Stoke, and I got sent off. But I've got an even better one than that. When it was a Bolt, and we went to West Ham. Believe it or not, we're playing West Ham, and my old fellow countryman Ian Dowie was picking me up from corners and free kicks. So as the ball comes into the box, I've made a run to go and try and get on the end of it, and I came Ian Dowie's left elbow straight into my face, as you would imagine from Ian Dowie TC. You know what I mean? So as he's elbowed me, I've just thought, I'm just going to keep running, and the next person that I see is having it. And the next person I seen was the goalkeeper, Craig Forrest. And I just kept running at Craig Forrest, and I just launched myself at him and bundled him straight into the back of the net. And you can imagine what happened after that. Straight red card.
Was that a red card, Tags, was it? Yeah. Was that a red card? Not
red
a red
card. Straight red card, yeah. Silly boy.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much for that, Gerry. We could probably talk about all three of you doing silly things on the football pitch for ages, but we've got to move on because we're towards the end of the show. Philip Howard on Facebook says, yes, that incident Ewan mentioned is unbelievable. Bob Colsar says he and Lily loves the globe-trotting segment, so thank you very much for that, Ewan. I'll quickly do clue number 4 for our Lurdle. We've had a guess in from Andy Smith, who said Harvey Barnes against Villa. That is incorrect, but I will play it.
Back to Barnes on the left. Barnes, 2-0. Classic Harvey Barnes. Give, go, move, shoot, score. And Leicester City in a very commanding position here already. We haven't even played 19 minutes. They lead by 2-0.
Because we're running out of time, I will give the answer. And it's a very well done, by the way, to Malk Heggs. I hope you're still listening on Facebook, because 20 minutes ago when we played clue number 1, bang, he was straight in there. Yeah. He said Harvey Barnes away at Wolves.
So quicker than me.
Quicker than you. You were after 2 clues. He got there after 1.
No, I had it in 1, Wolves away. But then I was thinking, who was the goal scorer those there? Costa
and
was
you had
the
that
giveaway.
On clue number
Costa.
3. Anyway,
Costa.
Well done to Malk Heggs. Lynn Harvey also liked that comment, so I can She can maybe claim that she's half done that. But yeah, Malk, fantastic work there, getting it after one clue. Right, before we go to our predictions, I've got to introduce what our Jenga will be this evening, where the four of us go head-to-head. This is tonight's theme. Due to scheduling, unfortunately, this will be the last extra time show of 2023, just because it's a game on Monday next. 2 weeks tonight, by the way. Today is Christmas Day, which is frightening for someone who hasn't sorted anything yet. Therefore, on the same theme, name any player to score against Leicester in this calendar year so far. So a nice and cheery one, talking about Leicester conceding goals. Yes, any player that has conceded, that has scored a goal, against Leicester in this calendar year so far. So in 2023. Right, while these guys write that down, I'll have a think as well. We've quickly got to look at our predictions ahead of each weekend. The four of us have a look at some predictions of games that have taken place. So the first game was Blackburn 0, Leeds 2. There's a point each for Gerry and myself because we got the result correct. Ewan and Tony get nothing because they didn't. They said it was a draw. 2-1 Sunderland against West Brom. I was the only person that predicted a Sunderland win, and I got it spot on. So I'll take all 3 points there. Next up, Cardiff against Millwall. Look at that one again, Gerry. 2 from 2 for me. 3 points again because I said Cardiff 1, Millwall 0. Ewan said 2-0, so he gets 1 point for that. Nothing for the other two. Middlesbrough 0, Ipswich 2. My luck has run out here. I said 2-2. No one predicted Ipswich to win on the road at the Riverside, which is somewhat surprising. And then Rotherham 1, Swansea 2. Tony Cottee, the only person to get a point for that. Let's see where that leaves the table. I feel like I've had a good week there with those two results. Indeed, I have. I go 7 clear at the top now. Tony, I've put a bit of breathing space between us now. Iwan Roberts really at the front of the table there. That's poor Ewan. I've expected better from you this season. Right, okay. Due to scheduling, this will unfortunately be the last extra time of 2023. Thank you to everybody who has listened, though, this year. Therefore, on that theme, name any player to have scored against Leicester this calendar year so far. I don't know whether this will go on.
It's a ridiculous question.
Tony, not happy with the question. Right, we'll start with Gerry Taggart, please. So any player that scored against Leicester during this calendar year, please. At
the minute, I've got one name. and I'm being serious.
I've got same tag, so this ain't going to go on very long.
Haaland.
Haaland is correct, right. Tony, hopefully that wasn't the only name that you'd had written down. What have you got?
I'm getting worse as I get older, Dan. I've got no chance of this one. I'm going to say Harry Kane, but it's just a guess.
What a cackle from Gerry there. Tony Cottee is out already. That means Iwan Roberts, you are next up for us, please.
I'm going to go for probably the best goal that's been scored at the King Power this season, Aaron Ramsey.
I couldn't remember his name. He was the other one, Aaron Ramsey.
Well done.
Ewan? Two out, thanks.
I'm going to say Jorginho Rutter for Leeds.
Oh, did he score the goal? Here, wasn't Byron.
He won the header, didn't he? Yeah.
Oh, I was writing his name down. Okay.
I feel like last season seemed a long time ago, didn't it?
Me. Oh.
Bye, tags.
I know. I'm just guessing. Too.
Could be just you and I at the moment. You and potentially.
Come on, big man. Get the grey matter going. Come on. Think of a team. That was earlier on in the season, wasn't it? Thinking of a Man City player, but that was earlier on in the season with a free kick.
Yeah, De Bruyne. That's too early. Too early. That's not your answer.
Well, seeing as I'm going to go out early, though, you can give me a bit of time to try and think of one. And then we'll leave it to you two to get on with it. Gerry, me.
Although I'm struggling a little bit, actually, to be fair. I feel like Ewan's writing a lot down there, which is worrying me.
Son, human son.
He did score a hat-trick against Leicester last season.
Yeah.
It clearly was in 2022. So Gerry is out, which leaves
That's rubbish, Taggart.
just the two of us. Then Ewan.
Is it me?
Yes.
I'm gonna go Gakpo.
Ooh, yes, that Liverpool Cup game. Okay, I'll say Sam Greenwood.
I can't remember his name. It's terrible.
Same
isn't it?
game, Szoboszlai.
I can't remember who got Liverpool's other goal in that one. And you've got it. I can tell you've got it. I'll say Liam Delap.
Yeah.
I'm going to go West Brom, Marja. Is it Marja, how you say it?
Yeah, Marja, yeah. Problem is, Leicester have only conceded, is it 10 goals in the league this season?
Yeah.
I have to go back to last season. Kai Havertz.
Diego Jota.
Tags, they have a text off. Ewan and Dan have a text
Yeah.
off. They keep me and you out of it, and they text each other all the answers.
Correct, mate. A couple of anoraks, TC. A couple of anoraks.
Don't be jealous, you two. This is unsure on this one, but I'm going to say Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm going to go first game of the season, big Carl McFadden.
Was desperately trying to remember that goal. Couldn't.
Brennan Johnson.
I've only got a couple left now. Adoze from Southampton.
Alvarez from Southampton.
Andre Dazelle.
Oh, he's got so many more. Right, I'm in guessing territory now.
I am.
I think Kovacic scored for Chelsea in that 3-1 to Chelsea.
I am guessing now. Bruno Fernandes.
He's lost. No, you've got to get one.
Yeah,
you've got to get one.
I'm going to go that same game. I'm going to say Marcus Rashford.
See, that was my other guess.
Oh, sigh of relief there. I didn't have many more.
Well done, Bates. You've had a good week,
Thank
haven't
you.
With your
Predictions went
well.
well, and that
You're
went well.
flying, Dan.
To be fair, Dan, how did we drag that out till 1 minute?
Well, you
I
done
know,
well,
considering those two went out as early as they did.
A
Yeah.
total blank.
Was that you won last week, Tony? Did you? Am I right in thinking that, or the week before? So
Yeah,
it's
I did, Dan. Yeah,
a fall
that was
from
really
grace tonight.
Dan,
Yeah.
I was thinking of what was it? Was it the one last season? There was a question either at the start of this season or last season, and I think we all got one answer each, and then it was all over.
And that was it, yeah. And then we had about 10 minutes to kill at the end of the show. Yeah. Well, we are at the end. Thanks to Ewan and myself there for dragging that Jenga out at the end. As we've said, that is our last show of 2023. We do hope you've enjoyed listening this year. We'll be back, of course, though, following that FA Cup game. Ironically, that's against Millwall as well, Wednesday's opposition.
Merry
Big thank
Christmas,
you
boys.
to Tony Cottee, to Iwan Roberts. Merry Christmas to all of you as well. I still think it's weird saying it that early, but as I said, it's 2 weeks away. So we can officially say that now. Right, that Millwall game on Wednesday, as we've already alluded to, is available to you on Fox's Hub, the full game. There is a UK stream also available worldwide as well. There's a QR code there in the bottom of your screen. If you scan that, you can watch all of the action with us for just £10. 6:45 our coverage will start with that one, as I've said, alluded to, hopefully more than likely with a first-team player on the sofa as well, so do stay tuned for that one. Yeah, but as I said, big thanks to Tony, to Ewan and to Gerry. Have a fantastic Christmas, everybody, and a great New Year as well. We'll see you all for Extra Time back in 2024. Goodbye.